Am I the asshole for being the reason my boyfriend blocked a new friend? Me and my boyfriend are slightly long distance as he lives in a nearby city for uni. One night he met a new female friend and I didn't like her very much and expressed that, and he knew from the beginning. I am rather insecure and slightly paranoid of others hitting on him, but I trust him completely. Because he knew I didn't like her, he started omitting details he thought were small and unimportant and talking about her less in fear of making me upset. Him doing that and me being able to tell, made me upset and extremely insecure. He knew that his friendship with her caused me extreme mental stress and I would frequently cry over it and started disliking myself. Whenever I tried expressing my feelings, he told me it isn't fair to her and that she's just a friend and lonely and he doesn't want to be mean, that I'm just being insecure and jealous. He would immediately jump to asking if he should block her. I never wanted him to not make friends, but I wanted him to see it was hurting me and hear me out and be willing to compensate. I started learning my boundaries, but he thought they were ridiculous. Only recently did he start agreeing with some of them. Last night we had a fight over it again and stated, "Fine, I'll fucking block her, she's gone." This is another thing that made me paranoid and insecure. He seemed so stubborn to keep her in his life and be her friend. They've known each other for 6 months and the whole time he knew I didn't like it. It made me feel like I was lacking something. Last night he was honest with me and told me he would leave small things out not to hurt me. One of them is that he never told me that at a study session she and him were alone for 2 hours after the other person left, and one of those hours they were in her dorm for internet and food. Before, I have always expressed I'm not comfortable with them hanging out alone and being in each other's dorms. He didn't tell me 'cause he knew it would hurt me, which says a lot to me. He says he did all this because he was desperate to make a close friend at uni and that he was lonely and didn't want to hurt me. I felt more hurt that he never tried compensating, and when I expressed my feelings I was told I was just insecure and that he chose to keep his friendship with her for 6 months despite knowing he kept hurting me a lot. I have decided that we just had a learning experience about our relationship and our boundaries, and I understand the way he acted and I forgive him. He does not. He's still upset that he lost a friend and potentially hurt her because I was insecure and paranoid and said I don't trust him. Am I the asshole? Edit. To people still replying. A couple hours ago I posted in a comment that I acknowledge I was the asshole and recognize everything I did wrong. In the past I couldn't see it, but now I do. Everyone suggesting therapy. Don't worry, I have decided to seek help with my insecurity, jealousy, control and trust problems. I have apologized sincerely to him. Yes, I meant it, and acknowledged I was manipulative. He said he will forgive me and that he still wants to be with me and we can work it out, he's just gonna need time. And I understand and respect that, and I'm grateful he is willing to put up with me and give me the chance to better myself. He has unblocked the girl and explained and apologized to her as well. No, I don't think anymore he should compensate, or comfort me in situations or deal with my insecurities or stroke my ego or whatever. We've talked. I'm going to prove I trust him. I don't have an issue with him going out or talking or being in each other's rooms or whatever, and he said he'll get more comfortable over time and be more open about things and not hide the small things he did. I don't blame him for doing those things, and even if he didn't tell me all the things, I'd be fine now. Yes, I know many won't believe me 'cause it isn't just a switch that flips, and you're right, but I believe this is the first step to bettering myself and giving him what he deserves. But at least I acknowledge and am aware of my feelings and faults. And yes, he knows of this post. I sent it to him personally. No, not for sympathy, to show how I came to realizing I was wrong and should apologize, and so he can read all your opinions. YTA. Read over this post again, but slowly, and actually read it. He needs to dump you, OMG. Edit. What are you gonna do in 10 years if y'all are still together? Never let him make a female friend ever in his life? You have some deep-rooted issues that are not his responsibility. You are the asshole. You decided to forgive him? That's rich. You are clearly insecure and controlling, and I am surprised he is tolerating this. Probably because he is lonely, as he pointed out. You are the asshole. I am a female and some of my best friends are men. I'll be damned if anyone tried to tell me to cut them from my life. You need trust for a good relationship, and it sounds like you don't have that. You don't get to control how your boyfriend interacts with his friends and then call it setting boundaries. It's controlling and manipulative. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. Your insecurities are a you problem. Info. Why was he the only one expected to compromise? You weren't offering any kind of compromise. You were forcing him to dump his friend. My most recent ex has insecurity issues and was constantly whining at me, bitching that I have male friends. He even bitched about me letting my male cousin stay at my place, WTF? And I got so sick of him whinging that I stopped talking about my friends, and when we spoke to each other, I didn't tell my partner. It wasn't worth the hassle. Your paranoia caused your boyfriend to omit details. He didn't do anything wrong, he just didn't want you to constantly blow up at him over his innocent actions. You are the asshole. Get therapy for your issues. You are the asshole. And #X200B. He needs to dump your insecure ass. You are the asshole. You are actively preventing him from forming healthy human connections with other people on account of your insecurity. Am I the asshole for not wanting to visit my dying grandmother? Sorry for making the title sound much more evil than it, hopefully, is. I'm also on mobile, so sorry in advance. I, 21F, moved from the northeast to the southeast in early January of 2020 to accept a job offer. I did this because my parents have never financially or emotionally supported me, and I figured the best way to get the education I deserve and can afford was to accept a job offer at a university, because after a year I would be an independent in the eyes of the IRS, and would be able to learn at the institution for a fraction of the normal cost. Obviously I would not have packed a 2011 Ford and driven alone 20 hours to move somewhere I never even visited, if I knew a pandemic was around the corner, but here we are. I have been fortunate enough to maintain my job, and therefore start a formal education. Not too long after the pandemic hit, my grandmother was diagnosed with lymphoma. Since then I have spoken on the phone with her daily. I am one of her doctor's primary contacts. I even help coordinate her travel to the hospital because my parents are divorced, my father works full-time, and my mother simply doesn't want to help because it's in God's hands. Ever since the diagnosis, both of my parents have been trying to convince me to come see my grandmother, and to even take extended leave, to live with her. That I was selfish for moving so far away from my family, and that they hope this diagnosis and their divorce, which essentially happened back to back. Mom called me on Christmas. Divorce was the gift, serves as a massive wake-up call for me to never abandon family again. My grandmother understands why I can't visit her, it isn't safe, she's going through chemo, and we are in a public health crisis. But at the end of every phone call, we both are crying because she always mentions how badly she needs me right now, and how we can only hope I'll see her alive again. I've started to not be able to sleep because I can't help but wonder if my parents are right, that I am selfish and an awe, and that I should put my life on a momentary pause, to move back home and start physically caring for my grandmother. It feels like the right thing to do, but I cannot tell if it's because I've been convinced I am an awful selfish person. Wanted to take to Reddit for other opinions, thanks in advance for reading. Update. Thank you to everyone for responding. Even if you thought I was buying the asshole, a lot of people have been asking the same questions, so I wanted to make an update. 1. Called grandma today and she is feeling how anyone her age undergoing chemo would. But the doctors are telling her that her body is doing everything they would hope for in terms of recovery. 2. My grandmother lives alone in an assisted living facility that is set up like an apartment complex. She is truly a powerful woman because she has still been working through all of this, not because she has to, but she enjoys keeping herself busy and being around, helping others. 3. We've always talked on the phone rather than FaceTime because she doesn't have a cell phone that can do video calls. Smartphones make her anxious. But after reading all of the replies you guys sent, I thought of something I feel dumb as hell for not thinking of before. She has a computer at home but no webcam, so today over the phone I bought her one. When it comes in, I'm going to do my best to guide her through setting it up so we can Zoom each other. 4. It is my full intent to hightail it to my home state to see her the second this public health crisis is over, and by God do I hope that can be soon. Thank you again to everyone who replied, especially those who reminded me of my worth. My grandmother understands why I can't visit her, it isn't safe. All we need to hear, not the asshole. Your mother is an awe. You know that you packed your car and left, didn't you? She hasn't changed at all. Don't trust her. You deserve to live your life, not be your mother's maid. I hope your grandma makes it through to the point you two can meet again, but even if not, you're taking care of somebody she really loves, you. Good luck, love. Not the asshole. You're doing all you can, from a distance. If you go back, there will be all kinds of excuses for you to never leave again. Not the asshole. Your grandmother understands why you've moved and that you're working for your education. She misses you, but she doesn't blame you. If you go back, make sure it's because that's what you want to do. If you don't want to, don't go. But nothing says you can't pop up there for a visit. Maybe on a long weekend or between semesters, for a few days or a week, after getting tested and/or quarantining. Your parents are being manipulative Oz. They want you to move back and take care of your GMA, because they don't want to take care of her themselves. Don't let them do this, you deserve better. My grandmother understands why I can't visit her, it isn't safe. This is the only guidance you need. It is horrible, but she gets it, not the asshole. I am an awful selfish person. You are not. You are not the asshole. You are a loving granddaughter and your grandma knows that. She knows that and she wants what's best for you. Of course, she'd like to visit with you but she understands your situation. Keep calling and doing what you can but rest assured she loves you and always will. Your parents seem to want you there to pick up the pieces they're avoiding. It's easy to blame you for their life choices. Not the asshole. I recently took an active step to limit my involvement in my family for mental well-being reasons. I get similar sob stories. When are you moving home? We need help, but my family expects me to move home to care for them as if my life and responsibilities are mute. For years I killed myself to meet those expectations. What I'm saying is, sometimes family is not the healthiest thing for us. And it's taken me 40+ years to figure that out. Not the asshole. My favorite part of this is that your parents think you are the awe and take no ownership of their behavior. Do not give up on your future to support your past. It doesn't help anyone. Not the asshole. Think about what you've said. Your mother doesn't want to help your grandmother because it's in God's hands, but wants you to give up your job and move back to do the care that she doesn't want to? You're just being manipulated. I'm guessing this is your father's mother? Because I think that's another reason your mother doesn't want to help but want to admit it. Am I the asshole for refusing to accommodate my brother's kid ever again? My 17F older brother 32 M has a kid 3M, and he treated as the pride and joy of our family because due to some infertility issues they took 6 years of trying without success. Now that my nephew is here, his parents let him do anything he wants to anybody expenses. My mother had to remove every decoration she had around the house because my nephew used to play with it and wouldn't understand a no. Every little piece she had around the house holds sentimental value and she had to put it away in order to keep letting my nephew be here because my brother refused to teach him some manners. I couldn't do my homework in the kitchen because my nephew would come and try to take my things because he wanted to play with them, and even when my brother and his wife hated it, I started to no let him do it, moving him aside or just fight with my brother until he came and took his child. During one of those things my nephew broke my computer and I made my brother pay for a new one because I refused to let my dad do it since he wasn't at fault. My brother tried to lecture me about not letting my lap there because I knew how his kid was, and I told him to not fuck with me and to raise my nephew better or he will be paying for things more expensive than that. My nephew also comes into my room anytime he wants and I hate when he does that. When he was younger and I had to go to class, one would always tell my brother that my nephew wasn't allowed to come to my room, ever. But he would open the door for him and let him wander around just because he could. Now I'm always telling my nephew to get out and I usually close the door, but he cries and screams all the time. I had enough, so I told my brother to stop expecting me to accommodate his child. If I let my switch, my lap or any of my things around the house, I expect them to be where I left them because this is my house. I should be comfortable in my own house knowing that my stuff won't get damaged, and if my nephew does something to them he has to pay it, always. And that he was a shitty father for refusing to raise him well. Edit. WOA. I didn't expect this to blow up. First of all, thank you all for all of your comments and advices. I might give a little more context since some things aren't clear. 1. I can't put a lock in my room since my door is uneven and it doesn't fully close. However, I don't think my parents would let me have it since my mom doesn't like that I have my door closed. 2. When my nephew broke my laptop, I was in the kitchen doing homework. I got up to get a quick snack and then went to the bathroom. When I got back, my nephew was all over my stuff and my brother was eating something, watching him without saying something. I told him to take him off please, but he began yelling at me for leaving my stuff there, and my nephew took it from the charging cable and smashed it to the floor. That's why my brother ended up paying for it, because we both saw my nephew doing it. He wouldn't have agreed otherwise. 3. I tried to tell no to my nephew in the best way I could. I put him aside and promise him we will play when I get time. But he is usually all over me and I end up calling my brother because I'm mostly in class or doing homework. I won't lie, there's been time when I don't have much patience. 4. I don't blame my nephew at all. I'm angry at my brother, his wife and my mom. When I try to explain them how I felt, they just say, "He is a kid, he'll get over it." But my nephew gets worse every day. I'm not exaggerating anything. He fights with us, with strangers. There's been time when he is sweet and calm, but it doesn't last. Not the asshole. Swap out your doorknob for one with a key lock. Lock it when you leave. I had to do this as a teen to keep my thieving sister out. Not the asshole. Okay, so you can't put a lock on the door to your room. How about buying a footlocker, locking storage bin and keeping your most important and/or breakable stuff in there when you aren't using your stuff? If you search footlocker on Amazon, it comes up with multiple styles and they aren't that expensive. Not the asshole. Gonna share my take before all the aggressive you are the asshole voters and their backlash get this post locked by mods. Sure. OP's kid is 3, kids do this shit. But this is also why you supervise your child at this age and have you take responsibility for if they break something. At the end of the day, if they're your child you still have to teach them how to behave. Your bother does not even bother with this, and the fact he has to fight with you before eventually having to take his child, just tells you how entitled he's being, outright. Having your stuff broken by someone else's child because they weren't watching them is a very justifiable reason to be upset. And honestly, if your brother won't punish him for misbehaving, you may as well by refusing to accommodate him. Not the asshole. Get a lock on your bedroom door. Don't leave your stuff out in the common areas, keep it all in your room. Try to teach the boy some easy manners because God knows his parents won't until it's too late. They're creating a monster and they're not doing their child any favors. Most of all brother for not teaching his kid manners. Also for not looking after him, but toddlers are quick and stuff happens. Second, cause seriously, the kid is 3. Even with the best behaved toddler you have to childproof stuff and not leave important things lying around. Get a lock for your door. Also yelling at a 3-year-old for taking stuff is harsh AF. Be the better adult and teach them. However, if they break your stuff it's perfectly alright to make your brother, the parent, pay. Last, grandma also a bit of an asshole for putting up with it. The kids doesn't know any better. Everyone stop bashing the kid. They need to be taught compassionately, not punished and getting mixed signals by the adults. Not the asshole. I can't believe anyone on here could you're the asshole. This child is breaking your things and invading your personal space. Your room is your room. You deserve to have your space and your things respected in your own home. Who cares if he's 3? Tell him no. He needs to learn boundaries at some point and this is a good age to start. You shouldn't have to put your stuff up because the parents are too lazy to discipline their child and tell him no. Edited for grammar. Your brother is an asshole and shouldn't be letting his kid into the room and needs to put down some boundaries. But even if the kid wasn't massively spoiled, adults still need to childproof and put breakable stuff out of reach when you have kids of that age around, otherwise stuff will get broken. Not the asshole. Ask your parents for a lock on your door too. Am I the asshole for not giving back my wedding dress? Update at the end of post. Involved people. Me 29F my fiancé and soon-to-be Husab 31M his twin brother and my brother-in-law 31M Bil's fiancé 30F. Story. My fiancé and I got engaged summer 2019 but said from the very beginning to not stress about the date of the wedding, so we set the wedding for December 2021. In March this year I walked past a shop for wedding dresses and saw one in the window I instantly loved. Long story short, I bought it the next day together with my best friend. I wanted her opinion first. No one else knew I already have it. My brother-in-law is supposed to get married in September and his fiancée went dress shopping last week. I didn't come along. Today she wanted to show the dress to the girls in the family. Well, she walks out with the exact same dress I have. Everyone was complimenting her so I kept quiet for the moment, but as soon as I got the chance to talk to her privately I talked to her and told her I have the same dress. She was very disappointed as she expected she would be coming along dress shopping with me. She was also angry I have the same dress and asked me to give it back because she doesn't want to get married in the same dress as her husband's twin brother's wife. I don't want to give my dress back. I absolutely love it. I don't mind getting married in this dress even if she is wearing the same. Words came out to the rest of the family and everyone is giving me shit for my decision. ETA. It's not that I didn't attend her dress shopping or declined to come. I wasn't even invited to come. Update. Okay, so this conflict resolved quicker and more civil than expected. After yesterday's incident I looked into easy ways to customize my dress for me personally without spending too much money. Like I said, I didn't mind it being the same. I sketched up a few ideas in terms of accessories, veil, belts, etc. and planned to show it to her after she hopefully calms down a bit. During the evening I received a bunch of texts from her and my fiancé's family, but I just ignored them. Just an hour ago she suddenly calls me, which is odd, she never calls. We aren't really close but get along well at family gatherings, lunches, etc. And asks if we can meet. Fine. I have a break in a couple minutes anyway and wanted to grab a coffee. We can meet at the cafe. She works in the same area and told me on the phone she had time to also take a break. She was already there when I arrived, and as soon as I sat down she started pouring apologies. How sorry she is for blaming me. It was just a hot-headed thing she said without thinking about the situation. She was stressed after a long day at work. She also mentioned it was a mistake to feel entitled to come dress shopping with me, also just in the heat of the moment. She appreciated I gave her a heads up when I did and didn't just wait until my wedding to reveal I have the same dress. I then told her I looked into things like accessories etc. and she admitted she had done the same, so we compared what we came up with and it is very different, so we came to the conclusion we will both be keeping the dresses and make them our own individual look with our personal accessories and hairstyles and all that stuff. We also kind of bonded over this as we will now be helping each other to find the perfect accessories and we will also go pick out the flowers for both weddings. She talked to the family and they also apologized to me. To me this issue now belongs in the past and we will laugh about it in the future. Not the asshole. I'd start sending out copies of the receipt that you bought it back in March. Seriously, so many wedding dresses look the same. I doubt you will be wearing your hair, makeup, veil or accessories the same, so it shouldn't be an issue. If she has the problem, she could return her dress, probably easier too since she bought hers more recently. So she's mad at you for buying your dress without her, but she bought her dress without you? Not the asshole. You bought the dress first, you're getting married second, you don't care if you have the same dress. This is her problem. You're fine. Not the asshole. First come first serve lol. Show the receipt date. And she's a hypocrite because she wanted to go dress shopping with you but she didn't take you with her. Anyways, not the asshole, but still a sucky situation for both parties involved. I mean, I'm a guy, but aren't there like thousands of wedding dresses lol. What are the chances? So, wait. You didn't go with her to shop for a dress, but she expected to go with you? Info. Were you invited to go with her and declined or couldn't go? Maybe it's a side issue, but if you weren't invited at all then we are starting to see a pattern of entitlement here. And if that's the case, then you will most certainly need to put your foot down here as she will likely get worse about this. In any event, not the asshole, because you bought this dress first and she is already starting to sound unreasonable. Not the asshole. If she doesn't want to wear the same dress she can return hers, since she's the one that cares. Not the asshole. Plenty of people wear the same wedding dress. If she cared so much about being unique she can take hers back. If she waited until 2 months before her wedding to get one, though it doesn't seem like it was really a priority since the average time is 6 months. Yet you bought it first. What does your fiancé say? Info. Can you even return wedding dresses? I didn't think you could? Either way, not the asshole. It's okay to like and wear the same dress. It's just a coincidence it was 2 people in the same family that it happened to.